Hello, Power fans. It's Mathonical. You're joining me for round 2 with Disciple Affinity. Our opening hand is fantastic. We're going to have a lot of card draw going on with our lands, so let's absolutely keep this one. The couple first turns are going to be pretty straightforward, just getting down our 1-mana artifacts, and of course casting a Thoughtcast. Pretty easy 2 turns there. Except for Spike. The only deck I've seen that in recently is the new Oops All instance that was played in the first ever Pauper Mythic Qualifier. So this will be very interesting. We actually have a pretty good game against counter spell decks because usually we can just build up a rather large, lots of cycling so we can eventually find the cards we need and eventually just slam something through. So let's hope we can do that. Spell Stutter Sprite to get in some aggro. It also means it's very likely they have additional Spell Stutter Sprites. They have been playing lands, so they have to have something. There I go ahead and cast the Disciple, because if they counter it, I get to play the Atog, and that would win us the game, so they wisely don't counter it. They now attack him with 2 sprites, so we're going to continue to just cast all of these Disciples, because if they ever cast one of these, we guarantee resolve an Atog, and that'll be game over. So we're just going to cast a bunch of Disciples. They don't counter it. We're going to attack with both our creatures, even though they have a quicksand, because if they destroy one of them, we then once again get to resolve our Atog. So things are looking pretty good for us here. With 3 Disciples on the field, we're going to be able to just churn through our cycling artifacts and do incidental damage, and we also have 4 damage every time we attack. They've played an additional land here, so it's very likely they would be able to destroy one of our creatures with quicksand and still be able to hold up a counterspell. So we do have to be a little mindful of that, but at the same time, do we really care? I don't think so. So we're going to go ahead and attack in, and they ended up just taking it. So we're in a pretty good spot here. When they go for the Repulse, since we have 2 flings here, we're going to fling one of them at their face. It's going to prevent them from drawing a card, and it's going to do 4 damage to them. 1 from the Etherium Sculptor, and 3 from our Disciples. So now any artifact that we can resolve and sack, we win the game. We're going to go ahead and cast a Disciple here. They go ahead and let that through. That's fine. We don't mind. And alright, so they now have pretty good blockers. We're not likely going to be attacking in anymore, although this attack is a little ambitious. It does mean that they are committing some mana to a quicksand. We go ahead and cast the Myr Enforcer, because if they counter that, we win with the Atog. And so they go to counter our Atog, but we have Myr Enforcer plus Fling, so we just fling that at their face. And that works. If they counter the Fling here, it doesn't matter. The Fling isn't what we're trying to do the damage with, it's with the Disciple triggers. So, ended up working out for us. It was a pretty good position we ended up getting ourselves into. So, going into game 2, we're going to take a quick look at the sideboard. And we definitely, once again, want to bring in the Pyroblast plus Dispel. I decide that we're also going to want the Reaping the Graves. This allows us to run our Atogs into counter magic and just get them back later on. And once again, we bring out the Myr Enforcers and the Springleaf Drum. Even though the Enforcers aren't the worst here, they are able to attack through all their creatures. I feel like the best game plan is to just hold things in hand until we eventually have the combo. So we're just going to maximize our ability to do that. So let's take a look. Our opening hand is fantastic. We have a lot of artifacts to draw us cards. We're going to have all of our mana online and a Dispel and Disciple to start things off. So pretty darn good. Me and Rafflecopter are having a conversation on the side. I was very interested in how well the deck's been performing for them, because it's a deck that is pretty interesting. It's pretty novel. If you guys would like to see a series on the Oops All instance, just let me know in the comment section down below. It's something I wouldn't mind doing. It looks pretty interesting. So we're going to go ahead, cycle all of our artifacts, draw tons of cards, and we're going to keep doing this as long as they let us. They don't have any pressure at the moment. They may be playing that 4-mana fairy at any point. And sure, there's Pestermite, that's fine. We don't mind. The reason why I don't cast things with that last mana is I don't want to get hit by Force Spike. That just feels pretty bad. So since we're not in any rush, we're just going to go ahead and play around Force Spike as much as possible. Here, since we have the Etherium Sculptor online, we get to start casting things for free. And I end up deciding I do want to get this Disciple out. just because we're going to be getting a lot of incidental damage in by sacking all these other things, and if they counter it, it's not the end of the world. We really do want to just start chipping in something. And Atog is fantastic for us here. Another Disciple is even better. So we're going to go ahead and cast this because now we have double Dispel from all our cycling. I did hesitate for quite a while before I cast this Atog because I was going through all of the different combination of spells they could have here. And the spell we cannot beat is Spellstutter Sprite, since Dispel can't counter it. But any other counter spells we're fine with. Even 2 counter spells we're completely fine with. And in the end, the odds of them having a Spellstutter Sprite, even though it was pretty good, I felt like it was worthwhile to go for this Atog, because if it resolves here, we just win on the spot with 2 Disciples. Turns out they ended up only having 2 counter spells as interaction, so our gambit paid off. Sometimes you just have to go for it. And since they did have 4 damage of pressure, I decided, since it looked like a pretty good spot. And sure enough, here we go. We're just going to be going off. Since we have the Etherium Sculptor, we're actually able to just keep cycling through without even having to sack our lands yet. And of course, we do have the win as soon as we sack enough artifacts, and our opponent gives us the GG. So, good games there. I'm pretty interested in their deck, so once again, if you want to see it, let me know. And have yourselves a good one. I'll see you in round 3.